Or how does Mekhi look?
Looks good. Looks good. He's here, so that's good.
Is he in shape?
Working with the performance staff and all that stuff, it's no different than every other player that's come through here. Whether they're in shape or not, they're going to work with the performance staff just to get a gauge of where they're at, and then from there we'll go.
Did he show up at the weight that you wanted him to show up at?
I'm not going to get into those details, but he's fine.
What is the plan for him going forward?
This week it's work with the performance staff, and then obviously he's got the next 40 days to continue to work and get himself ready to play football.
Do you expect him to be practicing when training camp starts?
Yes.
As far as you know, is the knee fine at this point? Structurally okay, and it's just him getting back into
it's structurally he's fine. Again, it's just a matter of him getting back into just the overall football movements and which he's progressing into. He looks good, and he's just got to continue working.
Robert, in terms of the grand scheme of things, how important is he to the offensive line and what you want to accomplish?
Every player is important to every position that we have. The NFL, the rosters are so small. Every player matters, and obviously we're all aware of the talent that he possesses, the size, the athleticism, the physicality, all of it, and he's really smart. So. Having him on the offensive line to move people off their spots, so the running back has running lanes, and the quarterback can sit in the pocket and buy a hitch. So yeah, he's important, and if he takes care of his business like we know he can, he can be transcendent.
What are you looking for from Zach in year 2 in terms of his development?
You ready for the cliche answer? Or the No, it is, guys. You know, obviously it's well documented. He had a rough rookie year. I mean, we all did. I did, including myself. So, just in terms of growing, people are forgetting that he's got a young offensive supporting cast. His receivers are young. His backs are young. The O-line is just gelling together. He's young. And so for Zach, really, it's just to continue to progress and becoming the starter a starting quarterback and moving in the direction that we all know that he's capable of. He doesn't need to be Tom Brady this year. He doesn't need to be. Now, if he ends up being that's awesome. But that's not the expectation for him. The expectation is for him to continue to climb that mountain that's quarterback play in this league. And we all got his back, and he's got a supporting cast that's working its tail off, and from there it's just piecing it together.
What's been your biggest impression of him so far this offseason?
Give it to me one more time, I'm sorry.
Your biggest impression of Zach Wilson this offseason?
He's coming with a great mindset. He obviously physically he's remade his body. Mentally, which is the big part that we're all really excited for. And again, it's not that he's a dumb kid at all. It's hard for a rookie to come in and learn a scheme and learn an offense, but he's very decisive with the ball. He's getting it to where it needs to go. His footwork is a lot cleaner. And obviously he's going to ride the roller coaster of ups and downs as he continues to grow and learn the offense, but master the offense, if you will. But it looks good. It's been a really good, productive offseason for him.
And Robert, just another Mekhi question. So when you guys get back here in late July, will he be starting out at left tackle?
We'll figure that out here in the next couple of days.
Another Mekhi question. Surprise, surprise. The first thing everyone said about this guy since the draft, you asked about him, he's big, right? That's the thing that stands out.
Massive.
And he moves quickly for a big guy, right? So it seems like there's like this fine line between, is he too big? Is he the right size? Like, how do you walk that fine line with him where, to use your term, it seems like his size is his superpower, but it can be, you can get too big.
It could be detrimental. It could be detrimental to everybody.
Right.
It's every position. We want you as big as you can be without sacrificing your speed. And Mekhi is never going to fall short of strength. I mean, the guy is an extremely powerful man, but no different than a running back. Talking 5 pounds with a running back can alter his speed. A corner can alter all that. It's no different. So he's got to find that. What is that line, and how aggressive can he be towards that line, in terms of maintaining that size and while keeping the speed and the athleticism that we all recognized when he was drafted. And so yeah, there is balance, and he's got to work with it. Now, a guy his size has to work a little harder than most, because his weight will fluctuate incredibly over the course of like 3 days. It's fascinating, but he's capable. He's got the right mindset. He's just got to piece it all together. So.
Do you believe that some of the injury issues, I know you weren't here for his first year, but some of the injury issues that he dealt with as a rookie, and then the foot injury during the offseason last year, and some of the other issues during, obviously, when the season started, that his inability to find that happy place with weight and with size contributed to some of those injuries?
Yeah, when you as an NFL player lose an off season of having the ability to condition and keep yourself in shape and all that, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So, just it's the same thing that happened to Mimsy. You miss an entire OTA. You're really not able to put in the work that you need to come in shape. So in training camp, you're already at a deficit. So you're playing catch up, and when you're playing catch up, you're already putting yourself at risk of being injured, and then it's just a matter of time before the wheels fall off because you're exhausted. You're grinding through things. Your muscles are tired, and you're straining to try to find those extra yards, and you get hurt, and then it just trickles down, and that's usually what happens to guys who get hurt in the offseason. It just lingers. So hopefully, just through this offseason, it's been a lot of training, a lot of trying to get into shape, a lot of stabilizing the knee. Again, he's got 6 weeks to grind, show up in camp and get ready to roll. So,
to your earlier point about just kind of incremental gains and making progress, there's so many teams in the league right now that seem to be just so aggressive about going all in these short spurts. You guys have a young team, you've been building through the draft. Do you think that there is sort of like an equally viable method to doing that incrementally and just sort of going 1 year at a time and trying to make progress that way?
Depends. The teams that have been ultra aggressive have quarterbacks on let me make sure I say this. So they've got the established quarterback, and so they're throwing in all their chips while they're not necessarily at the end of their career, but that they've got these quarterbacks, whether they're in their rookie contracts or not. We have a really young team where our receivers are young. Our quarterback is young. Our backs are young. Even the back end, the defense is young. And I know we tried to be aggressive with Tyreek, obviously with working the trade market and all that. So we were trying to get in there too because we do have faith in our quarterback. Some things work out, some things don't. But with the youth of this team and having the luxury to allow it to grow and gain another year of experience allows us to have that little bit in the tank to be aggressive when we need to be.
So then just heading into break for you guys, for you, like just thinking about this team as a whole, what's the state of the Jets before training camp at this point now?
I think guys are in a really good place. We're obviously further along this year than we were last year. Guys are understanding exactly what they're being asked in all three phases, whether it's special teams, offense, and defense. From a schematic standpoint, the language barrier of having a new staff and new players is down where you could see Zach, he'll make a throw and he's like, he already knows what Rob and Mike are going to tell him. He's like, I know. And he'll point to where he needs to, So same thing with the O-line, D-line, all the way across the board. So that's the biggest part from the communication barrier has been fantastic. But obviously I'm an optimist. I think we're in a really, really good place. I really do. What it looks like from a result standpoint, that's for all y'all to judge. But we're a lot further along this year than we were a year ago.
We were only at 4 of those OTA practices, but based off of those and then what we saw yesterday, it seemed like yesterday was one of Zach's best days. What did you see, and how have you kind of seen that progression from him line up? Same
thing. It's no different. I know you guys have caught him on a couple of days where it hasn't been fantastic, but not to make excuses for him. There's a whole lot of elements that go into a play, but the decisiveness, the accuracy, the footwork, the eye placement. And then on top of that, the receivers, with the way they were running the routes, they looked as fresh as they've been. They're operating with speed, jumping off the ball. There was a lot of really good things offensively, and the timing was just clicking. And when it does click, and we're all on the same page, and rhythm is good, it can be explosive. And but with Zach, really, it was just a matter of just everything coming together with regards to play call, timing, receivers, all of it, and that's what excites you, because you know what it can look like, and now we just got to create that consistency.
How different are you in year 2? Do you feel even more equipped to handle this challenge?
Yeah, no, the big difference is understanding the media schedule in New York. So getting a hang of that, but otherwise it's fine. It's more administrative, but it's just trying to find balance, and feel like I'm getting better in that regard. just got to keep getting better.
Take a couple more.
You talked about, everybody knows stuff better this year. What do you think is the biggest thing you accomplished through this off-season program?
As many times as everything comes down to reps. This team, this locker room, is not short of people who want to work hard and who love ball and work their absolute tails off. It is not short of those guys at all. And anytime you can get out there and go through the install again and again. So in this minicamp, we're doing it again. Training camp, they'll get it again. And trying to hit them as many times as we can, go back to square one and do it again, go back to square one, do it again. Because in a game plan, you're going to go back to square one, do it again, and try to fit it all in a week. So the fact that we were able to get phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, minicamp, it's beneficial. It's beneficial to the coaches to be able to master how they want to present the information. It's beneficial to the players to hear it as many ways as possible and to see different clips, see them doing it, see other teams doing it. All of it's beneficial. And so to answer your question, just another opportunity to master the schemes has been extremely beneficial.
At the end of the season, you talked about trying to cut down on injuries this year. Have you noticed any change in the off-season? Because obviously you scale back some of these workouts, especially with the bigs. Have you noticed any reduction in injuries? And how will this play out into training camp? Will you adjust your training camp schedule to try to be mindful of the injury rate?
If your question jinxes today, we're gonna have a problem. No, we've been clean this entire off season. Had a couple of nicks and bruises here and there, but for the most part, oh God, Rich, I swear to God, might make me cancel practice, man. But no, it's been really good. We've made some fundamental changes, as you guys have seen. We still feel like we're getting in a lot of good work. We're averaging 30 more reps per day than we did a year ago, believe it or not. When we include the walkthroughs, the jog-throughs, and then obviously the 7-on-7s. But training camp is also going to be modified some. Obviously, we're not modifying the contact and all that stuff. That's got to happen. But just the amount of days that we're grinding consecutively is going to be modified. Those schedules, to answer your next question, is going to be decided tomorrow morning.
You guys, in recent weeks, have had several notable veterans in with Riley, Larry, and Quan. Did anything or has anything changed with them in terms of progression towards potential deals or anything like that, or is it just they're still deciding what they want?
Yeah, Joe's working through all of it. The discussions are always there. That'd be a better question for Joe, but I know he's working on all of it.
Kaz, Andy, TJ.
Your answer about Zach before, I say he doesn't have to be Tom Brady, he doesn't have to kind of carry the team. I'm sure you relayed that to him. Is that a tough message to get through a quarterback's head? Because I'm sure he wants to be Tom Brady and he wants to be the hero.
I think Zach's ceiling is exactly what I think he thinks his ceiling is, which is no limit to what we think he's capable of, and I mean that genuinely. To try to blow through the ceiling without really being a master of the one-on-one aspect of football is unfair. Is unfair to himself, and to continue taking those steps for him. Yeah, he's a competitor. He wants explosive plays. He wants to, like you said, he wants to be the best quarterback in the league day one, which we all want to be the best at what we do. But it's not about, for him, it's not about being the best today. It's about being your best today. And whatever your best is today, trust that it's good enough and that you'll be, you can grow into whatever your best, your maximum, your whatever you are to maximize. And I believe it's going to be special, but it's just got to continue growing.
Going back to Mekhi, when you open up, the left tackle competition, that could be something that's jarring to a young player. So I'm just curious, did you feel like you had to talk to him about it, and how do you think he's responded to it? Mekhi's a pro. I think pros also respect one another, and I think he respects what George did, and I think that's what gets lost in this whole thing. I get a lot of the focus is on Mekhi, but I do think it's a disservice to what George did a year ago. And the work that he put in and the work that he's putting in this year and in this offseason. So for as much as we talk about one aspect of it, let's not forget about how good of a job George did and make sure we give credit to where credit's due. And do you expect George to be fully ready for camp and everything?
Absolutely.
TJ?
You mentioned now, like when we went to a couple of OTA practices, that Zach didn't look fantastic.
But some of that has to do with the defense. So how much better is the defense now compared to where it was last year?
You know what? It is hard to tell because I do think we're front driven. And do I think DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead, all the additions, another year of maturation for Bryce Hall, and I know Echols has been on the mend, but Michael Carter, all our young guys, CJ looks fantastic, Quincy looks really good, getting LaMarcus Joyner back there, Ashton is a lot more comfortable, so is JP. I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sure, but again, the language barrier, the communication barrier is down, and there's a lot. They just look faster. The windows are tighter. The communication is better. Now, when we get the front in there, and how disruptive can we get up front, so that back end can be more aggressive, that we'll find out in training camp.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Forgot the number 4 pick.
Oh, that guy. He's got to make a play first.